Hi, this is Todd Christensen with MoneyFit by DRS. I so appreciate Garish for inviting me on to the Back to Basics show. Please subscribe and keep on listening. And remember, everything in life is going back to basics.
Hi, my name is Julie Wald. Thank you so much to Back to Basics for having me over. Don't forget to subscribe and to listen, and remember that everything in life is going back to basics.
Hello. My name is Girish Bally, your host for Back to Basics. How are you? Hope everyone's all well and the weekend is great. Today's Monday. Obviously, we are going to be talking to a certain person about, dieting. Well, we'll get into that basics, but I just wanted to thank everybody, whoever's online. Please do comment to us. We are going to be, listening to you guys, listening to you, reading from you. And by the way, just an FYI, here is a number that you should call whenever you get a chance. And this is the first time we're doing this, actually 3-4 times. And we're going to do something a little fun. We want to have you call in and ask the guest for at least a few minutes. And please be mindful, because you know what? We want to be nice to everybody, right? But the questions that we're going to be asking in these questions in this episode, I want your help, right? And it's going to be 513-900-2221. 513, yo, B2B1, because B2B is always number one. And that's just what it is. We're going to treat this as a live radio show, even though that it's a podcast. So, guys, please do comment and do let us know if you have any questions for me, even for Back to Basics and what Back to Basics is going to be doing. So let's get to the show, if that's okay with you guys. So let's do this. So guys, thank you again for coming to Back to Basics. We are going to be talking about dieting, weight, losing weight. Why should we lose weight? Is it really healthy for you? Or is it? I mean, those are the questions we'll be asking. And the main question that we're going to be asking is how, right? The steps that we're going to take, or the design of your body, right? The design of your life. I mean, that's what we're going to be talking about. So we have a guest today, and I'm very privileged of getting David on the call. We talked briefly right before this call today, plus even on LinkedIn, and that's how we connected. And I'm pretty sure David is going to tell us more details as to how he feels that he's on Back to Basics, right? He's done a lot, and he's here on this show. So let's talk to David and let's get to know him better. David, how are you? And thanks for coming to Back to Basics.
I'm doing great, Girish. Thank you for having me as a guest today.
Of course. Thank you again for coming here. But before we talk about your book and the dieting and the steps and what I just said earlier, what does Back to Basic mean to you?
Back to basic means to me that you're going back to what is simple, what works. Because when it's complicated, there's too many things that can go wrong. And getting back to basics meaning, to me, eating healthier, more natural, whole foods that Mother Nature makes, and that's not made in a lab by someone in a white lab coat.
Yeah. Thank you again, David, for answering that question, and thank you again for coming on Back to Basics. And it's as simple as that, isn't it? Just like what I asked you, and there's not really much to say on that part. But David, let me ask you this, right? The book that we're going to get into the book, but I wanted to ask you, what made you get into this realm? I mean, there had to be something. I mean, you didn't wake up in the morning and I'm going to lose weight or design my life that way. There had to be something. Can you explain?
Well, sure. In July of 2016, my doctor told me, based on my lab results and being significantly overweight, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. So he gave me two options. He said, David, you can lose weight or find a new doctor And he strongly encouraged me to find a new doctor because he had been after me for 8 years to lose the weight, and I hadn't done anything. Like most people, I procrastinated. I'll start on Monday. I'll start after the holidays, after vacation. It's too difficult. It costs too much money. Whatever excuse I could use, that's what I did. However, during the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, 25% of my total body weight. And more importantly, I've kept it off. So now I want to help others do the same.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you again. And, can I just ask you a simple question? I mean, why do we always tend to make plans when we're just going rock bottom, or when someone tells you that you're going rock bottom? Why can't we just do it decently? I mean, is that the normal human thing to do? What are your thoughts on that?
In my opinion, that's it. I mean, we all know what to do. We just don't do it. Later on, we'll go through some of the 9, secrets, I call them, or basic steps. And when people see them, they're like, well, I know that. I understand you know that. The question is, are you doing it? And if not, why not? So most of us know what to do. We just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically the word that we're looking for is laziness. I mean, or just pure lazy. I mean, what are your thoughts on that part? I mean, is that the word I should be looking for?
No, I would say procrastination is a better word for it. We tend to put off to tomorrow what we can do today. And since tomorrow never comes, if we keep putting off to tomorrow what can be done today, and tomorrow never comes, we'll never do what needs to be done.
Yeah. David, thank you again, and thank you for being who you are, because you made that steps, and now I think you came a long way. How long did that take you to make that transition change?
Well, the first 4 months I lost the 50 pounds, and after that I modified my eating habits and changed my lifestyle. Before I gained the weight, when I was younger, I was always fit and trim. However, like many of us, life gets in the way, and with family responsibilities and work obligations, before I knew it, the weight crept up on me until it got to be a point where it was going to be fatal if I didn't do something.
Yeah. Thank you again, David. And guys, whoever is listening on here, I mean, if you want to call in, just call in. I mean, we're gonna be here for the next 30 minutes, and we want to be diligent to the guest. And the number that it is 513-900-2221, and that's 513-900-2221. And just make sure that the questions are short, because we do want to crunch up the time too, and be diligent to the guest too at the same time. So David, so let's go straight to the book, if you don't mind. So the name of the book is Break the Chain of Dieting, right? And it says 9 fundamentals must have principles for healthy weight loss. And this is the book. And guys, he shipped me the book, so thank you again, David, for that. So the first thing is, did the book come first, or did the title come first, or is kind of yin and yang? Because I mean, the title says it all, really.
The book came first. It was a different title initially, and I got some feedback on it, and most people didn't like the title, so we changed it. And how I came across the title was because of the image that's on the front cover of the word diet with a chain around it.
Do you want to explain? I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you want to explain what the title was originally?
Originally, I was going to call it The Dark Side of Dieting.
Okay.
Because people go on diets and they tend to be extreme, temporary, hard to stick with, and a lot of them are potentially unhealthy for people. So I wanted to look at it that way, and people felt, no, that needed to be more uplifting. So the book is entertaining because I use short stories and some fables and analogies and apply the life lessons from those short stories to eating healthier, which then translates to losing weight. And what I tell people is, if you want to lose weight, don't go on a diet, change your diet. And that's what people need to understand. Our bodies are incredible machines, and we have to look at what kind of fuel are we putting into it. So a lot of people take better care of their automobiles and their pets than they do their own bodies.
But David, thank you again for that. So you're telling me that I can eat everything?
No, I'm telling you, you can eat everything that you like that's healthy for you. There's a big difference. For example, our food today is being scientifically engineered to optimize our cravings for fat, salt, sugar, and texture.
Mm.
It's a term called bliss point, and that term was coined by Howard Moskowitz, who was employed by the health or the food industries for over 30 years. He's responsible for the different flavors of Prego spaghetti sauce, Campbell's soups, different varieties of Dr. Pepper, and all other products. And what people need to understand is it's not the food that we're consuming, it's what they've done to the food. And a lot of times it's not even food. And what I mean by that is it's made in a lab by people in a white lab coat, and they're using chemicals. So it's not made by Mother Nature. And that's the big difference. I call them edible products. And these products, they're toxic and they're poisonous. And people are like, well, it doesn't affect me. Of course not, because it's such a small amount. However, after 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that's when you start seeing the consequences of the poor eating habits that we have. That's why if you're over age 50 in the United States, there's an 80% probability you're a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. And if you're a pre-diabetic, what that means is if you do not change your eating habits, you'll be a full-blown type 2 diabetic within 7 years. So imagine that. People over age 50, 80% of them are most likely going to be a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah, so thank you again for that. So basically, you can eat everything, but the thing is that you need to be diligent of what you're eating, and it has to be healthy also at the same time. But is this the right approach that you can eat everything, but you need to be more moderations?
Well, yeah, I still enjoy a piece of chocolate cake or pumpkin
Sure.
pie or pecan pie. I don't, overindulge like I used to. Instead of taking a full slice or a large piece, I take a sliver and enjoy it. I eat slower now. I've reduced my portion sizes. I drink a lot more water. 72% of the US adult population is overweight. And there's a direct correlation to not drinking enough water. And that's because 75% of the US adult population is chronically dehydrated. Our bodies are 60 to 70% water, not soda, diet soda, fruit juices, or fruit flavored beverages.
Yeah, but David, thank you again for that. Do you do you think in the last maybe let's say 10 years or 15 years, I mean, the transition has kind of changed in the schools, right? Of not giving more sugar or soda or any um, not really crap, but not really good snacks either. Right now, they're giving them healthy snacks. Don't you think that now we're coming to a stage that we're getting a little better, or you think we still have a long way to go?
We have a long way to go. For example, most people think orange juice is healthy for you. It's not.
Hmm.
It's loaded with sugar and not too much fiber. It
Right.
takes 4 to 8 medium-sized oranges to make a glass of orange juice. So
Hmm.
what I ask people is, would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one sitting? And
Hmm.
most people would say, no, of course not. But that's how much sugar you're getting in your body.
Hmm.
The other thing is there's a lot of imitation meats out there, the Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger, imitation chicken and fish. Those, again, are maybe plant-based, but again, look at the chemicals that they put in to make it taste like meat. You're better off eating grass-fed beef or free-range chickens than you are eating the imitation and fake stuff. And the way I look at it is, if it's not made by Mother Nature, don't eat it.
Yeah, yeah. David, thank you again. I Are we saying that we should go vegetarian, or are we saying that we should be finding good meat? And is there a better way to find it?
I'm not saying you have to be a vegetarian. I'm not. I enjoy a good steak every once in a while. I
Sure.
eat fish. I eat chicken. So it's all on your likes and dislikes. Again, uh, there's arguments on both sides whether you should be, more plant-based and vegetarian or not. However, what I use for that argument is the Eskimos don't have much of a choice. They don't get fresh vegetables and fruits, so they have to rely on, the salmon and the other stuff that they eat, which is different.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again. So, David, so the nine fundamentals. So, are they steps? Are they the ways to do it, or are they nine stories of small, nine different people?
No, it's different steps that people can implement, and if you do it gradually,
Mhm.
you can do a couple steps at a time, so it's not extreme. So, for example, the first one is to drink more pure water.
Mm.
Again, our bodies are 60 to 70% water, and it's not soda or diet soda. And then the question is, well, how much water should I drink?
Hmm.
Minimum, you should drink 64 ounces of water, or 1/2 of your total body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should drink a minimum of 100 ounces of water each day. And again, if you're doing a lot of physical activity or exercising, then you need to drink more water to replenish the fluids that you're losing. And that doesn't mean drinking more Gatorade or these electrolyte drinks. Those are, again, are chemicals. In fact, the original Gatorade formula has been changed and modified so much it looks nothing like it was back in the 1970s when it was created.
Yeah, thank you again. And so, if you don't mind, just going through the steps on the 9 fundamentally briefly, if you don't mind.
Sure. First one, like I said, drink more water. Second one is to avoid highly processed and manufactured foods. The third thing is to eat more of the whole holistic foods, whether it be, grass-fed beef or free-range chickens, or, organic plants and vegetables, a lot of nuts and legumes and beans. The other thing is to eat slower. We all tend to eat very fast. Eat smaller portions. Our portions have been supersized without us realizing it. The reason I say that is in the 1900s, the average size dinner plate was 9 inches in diameter. Today, it's 12 inches, and in restaurants, it's 13 to 15 inches. Yet in Europe, it's still 9 inches in diameter. So what I tell people is to use a salad plate instead of a dinner-sized plate. The next thing is to get adequate sleep, because when we're sleep deprived, we tend to consume an extra 500 calories the next day. And in order to lose weight, you need to reduce your caloric intake by 500 calories per day for an entire week. So we go in the wrong direction when we're sleep deprived. The next thing is to do what I call an intermittent fast, or give your body time to digest and process the food. And most people can do it without even attempting or doing it now. If you stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed, so let's say you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and you stop eating at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and your first meal, breakfast, which means to break the fast, is at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, that's 12 to 14 hours. So a lot of people say, well, what do you do when you first get up if you want to eat? I drink 20 ounces of water right away. And so that rehydrates you and also reduces your appetite, so you can go the extra hour or two without putting food into your body. So that's one thing. Then also keep a positive mindset. 80% of our thoughts are negative. Just imagine if we change that to make it 80% positive. So instead of saying, oh, I'm on a diet, I'm not allowed to have that, say, I'm watching what I eat and I'm choosing to eat healthy, and this is what I prefer to eat. Big difference in how you approach things. The other thing is to walk each day or do some type of physical activity. And I believe that's all 9 of them.
Yeah. Thank you again, David. But let me ask you this, right? I mean, I have seen a lot of people do this, right? Let's say if we're going to a party or something like that on a weekend, like on Saturday and then Sundays, right? And they say, well, I don't feel like eating this because I'm on a diet. So now the first question comes out of my mouth is, what happened to the other 5 days that you were working? So it should be an everyday thing instead of just doing it that one day. What are your thoughts on that part?
Oh, I agree.
Maybe I'm wrong. I mean,
oh no, I agree. It should be a lifestyle, and that's what I teach people is you're not on a diet. A diet is similar to a sprint. Sprint has a finish line. A diet has a finish line, which is the goal. And that's what happens. A lot of people will reach their goal, lose the weight, and then revert back to their old eating habits and regain the weight. 90% of people that lose weight on a diet gain it all back within a year, some even more. So think of your lifestyle as a marathon. You just keep going and going. And in this marathon, it's a journey. There's no finish line. There's no stopping point. And that's how you have to look at things. And that's why I'm saying about changing your mindset and your attitude of how you approach things. Now, the other thing you can do is, set certain rules for yourself where you're not going to do certain things. I won't touch Pringles potato chips because I'm addicted to them. I won't touch a Hershey bar or Snickers bars or M&Ms because I know if I start eating one, I won't stop. So I treat it like I have, an alcoholic. You're not supposed to have a drink as an alcoholic because if you do, most likely you're not going to stop. So I look at it as an addiction, which it is. In fact, Oreo cookies have been shown to be more addicting than cocaine. So there's various things you can do. And again, when you enjoy what you're eating and it's healthy for you, now it's not a chore. You look forward to it as
Mm,
opposed to dreading. And again, I'm not a purist and I'm not saying you have to give up everything. However, in the book, we talk about what cheeseburgers, wine, and wedding cake have in common. And I'll go through that briefly if that's okay.
sure, yeah, please.
So you're at a barbecue on the weekend and your host is making the, finest grass-fed burgers with, homemade, buns and your favorite condiments. And he asks you if you would like, one of his cheeseburgers, favorite cheese and everything, and you politely decline. The reason you decline is because you're a vegetarian. You don't eat meat.
Mm,
And the same host is now asking you if you would like a glass of wine. It's your favorite wine. However, you politely decline because you're female and you're pregnant. So you don't drink. Most pregnant women won't drink alcohol. And then the third one is you're at a wedding and they hired a famous baker to bake this incredible wedding cake, and everybody's oohing and eyeing, and they offer you a slice. Again, you politely decline because it has nuts in it, and you're deathly allergic to nuts. So again, it's a hard and fast rule. It's not that you won't or can't; it's you don't.
yeah, but David, thank you again for that. But let me ask you this. I mean, you said this earlier about the M&Ms and the chocolates and everything else, right? Now, don't you think that we should be looking for healthier options instead of the chocolates, right? I mean, for example, milk chocolate versus dark chocolate. Um, if you want no nuts, then let's take walnut because walnut is much more healthier than the other nuts, right? But then if you're allergic to nuts, that's a separate issue altogether. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, maybe make wise choices when you're having healthier. What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
absolutely. There's a lot of different things you can substitute instead of the M&Ms. Cherries make a great snack because they're finger food, and
Mm,
you have to eat them slow because they have pits in them.
mm,
Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, any of the berries make great, whether it be fresh or frozen.
mm,
An apple, pear, a banana, eat an orange. Oranges are healthy as long as you're not drinking the orange juice
mm,
per se. So there's a lot of things you can do. Nuts, unless you're allergic to them, great snacks as long as they're raw and unsalted.
mm,
Almonds are a great nut to eat. Walnuts, as you mentioned, very healthy. So there's a lot of things we can do. Even have a slice of cheese. I know it's highly processed. I get the raw cheese, so it's a
mm.
little bit more expensive.
Yes.
However, I'm not asking people to do it. All I'm saying is get a higher quality cheese and have that as a snack. There's so many things you can do. Drink more water. When you drink water, a lot of times we tend to think that we're hungry when actually we're thirsty.
Mm,
So if you drink the water, then it'll curb your appetite.
mm,
A lot of times we also eat because of stress. So look for things you can do to relieve the stress. Maybe talk to a friend, go for a walk, make some notes in a journal. There's a lot of different things you can do.
yeah.
The other thing is um, we eat a lot of our food because it's convenient. It's easier to go through the drive-through at McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's.
Mm,
It's easier to order the pizza to be delivered or picked up. It's easier to pick up a bucket of fried chicken and bring it home.
mm,
It's easier to get the frozen meal and throw it in the microwave
mm,
later on. So again, when you said that we've become lazy, you're right on that aspect. We don't want to take the time to go to the grocery store to buy the, fresh fruits and vegetables, and then
mm,
we don't want to take the time to prepare the meal. A salad, if you do it right, should only take about, maybe 10 minutes to prepare at most,
mm,
and they get to enjoy it. And again, salads, there's a myth about losing weight with salads.
mm,
Most people think you have to eat all that stuff. You don't. Um, the thing with salads is they have a lot of calories in it because of the salad dressing people put on it, the
mm,
croutons, the seeds, the nuts, the processed meat. So again, be careful what you're putting into your salads.
mm. Well, I mean, you'll have to be creative, right? I mean, when I eat salad, I usually put goat cheese in there just to make it look and be healthy at the same time and
Well,
filling too.
exactly. And goat cheese is very healthy for you. I'm talking about the processed American or Swiss
Yes,
cheese.
that's right. Yeah. Thank you again, David, for explaining that. One last question, if you don't mind, David. That we just had COVID for the last 2 years, right? And there's a lot of people who are laid off, and they're crunched with income and crunched with expenses, right? So I know and you know that healthy food is very expensive. So it's the easiest way to find, I guess, I wouldn't say cheap food, but just less quality food, right? So what are your thoughts on that part? I mean, there had to be some way that we can help someone out there with a limited expenses but good food. I mean, what are your thoughts on that part?
Well, I would disagree that healthy food is expensive. In fact, it's lesser, cheaper than a lot of the fast foods and a lot of the processed foods. So some of the things you can do, eggs are very inexpensive, the healthy eggs. And what I
Mm,
say by that is they should be pasture eggs versus free range or cage free.
mm,
When you see what free range and cage free is, it means that the hens can go outside, but they're cooped up and they don't.
mm,
Pasture eggs means that the hens actually forage for their food, with they eat the bugs, the grass, the worms. If
mm,
it says grain fed or special feed on the carton, avoid it because that means it's corn and soy that they're feeding the hens. So
mm,
that's what you're getting in your body. But a carton of pasture eggs is anywhere from $5 to $6 or $7, and people are like, well, that's really expensive. Well, how
mm,
much are they paying for their breakfast sandwich at McDonald's, which is
mm,
$5 or $6? So you're getting a dozen eggs. You can get 6 meals out of that if you eat 2 eggs at a time,
mm,
as opposed to one meal for the same price. The other thing is oatmeal, not the Quaker oats or the instant oatmeal, but the whole oats, rolled oats, and steel cut oats.
mm,
Very inexpensive, very filling, very healthy for you. And people are like, well, I don't like oatmeal. Well, what I do with my oatmeal, I don't use any maple syrup or sugar or honey to sweeten. I use
right.
ground cinnamon, and
Yep.
ground cinnamon is a metabolism booster. And then I throw in some chopped walnuts and I throw in some ground chia seeds. So now
Mm,
it's crunchy and it's healthy for you at the same time.
mm,
Uh, Organic short grain brown rice, very healthy for you, very filling. Avoid the pastas. I know they're cheap and they're filling, but anything that's white is highly processed and not healthy for you. The
mm,
thing is, when we're younger, most of us will forego our health because we're chasing wealth. And
mm,
as we get older, we start spending our wealth chasing our health. So I like to find a balance with that. And
mm,
as you said, keep it back to basics.
mm,
There's so many things you can prepare. You can get, frozen, fillets of fish on sale. You can get things on sale and freeze it in the freezer,
mm,
and just prepare it that way. It doesn't take much to prepare a simple meal. And again, we're used to eating larger portions. So when we get used to eating
mm,
smaller portions and eat slower, then the
mm,
food will last longer.
mm. Yeah, thank you again. I mean, we've been told by living in the States that you should just get a big plate and be done with and don't get up, right? I mean, we have a tendency to add more stuff in one shot instead of in small portions. Maybe in that second round, you're fine instead of just a five portion meal in one shot. So, David, thank you again for that. And thank you for explaining about the expenses too, because I'm in the same boat as you are. I mean, it's not that expensive. I mean, you just have to make some um, good choices when it comes to buying stuff, right? For example, the steel oat that you just mentioned, or brown rice, and so thank you again, David, for that. But before you leave, David, it's been really pleasure for you being here on the show. But do you have any last words for any Back to Basic listeners and viewers here? And how is your journey on Back to Basics too? On top of that,
Well, the journey's been incredible on Back to Basics. And what I would tell people is to start now. And Nike has a slogan that says, just do it. And they missed the boat. They should say, just do it now.
hmm,
And the other thing is, uh, yesterday you said tomorrow, and we keep procrastinating.
hmm,
So make it a priority for you to start regaining your health. And you don't have to lose the weight overnight all at once. Those national brands that promote losing 15, 20, 30 pounds per month, uh, it's not sustainable, nor is it healthy. So look
hmm,
at it this way: you didn't gain your weight overnight, you're not going to lose it overnight. Most people who need to lose weight ask them, would you like to weigh 24 to 48 pounds lighter by this time next year? And they'll say yes. Well, can you lose 2, 3, 4 pounds per month? Not a week, per month. And most people say, yeah, that's doable. Okay, so if you lose 2, 3, 4 pounds per month on average, because some months you'll lose some more and some you won't lose any, over 12 months, that's 24 to 48 pounds.
hmm,
So don't get frustrated. A lot of people want the instant results, and after 2 or 3 weeks, they don't see the results, so they stop. For example, January 1st, everybody makes that New Year's resolution to lose weight and exercise more and become healthier. And what happens is they start going to the gym, they're eating healthier, they get on the scale and the scale doesn't move. And like, well, I'm doing everything right. What's going on? Well, what's happening is you're replacing the fat with muscle. 5 pounds of muscle is the same as 5 pounds of fat. The difference being the muscle is denser, so it takes up less room. So I usually ask people, well, how are your clothes fitting? In fact, I had one client that for 3 weeks was doing everything and the scale didn't move. And he finally says, well, I'm riding my bike more. I'm walking 5 miles a day and my clothes are loose and people are asking me if I'm losing weight. However, the scale's not indicating. I said, don't go by the scale. The scale is going to lie to you. Go by how your clothes will be honest with you. So that's one thing. And then don't get frustrated. Be with it, because a lot of those small, insignificant changes that you're making may not show up right away. But if you do it over time and it compounds, as Darren Hardy says, then you get that noticeable result over a period of time. So that's my advice to people, is keep with it. Don't give up, and be diligent in what you're eating, and look at your body as a machine and what you're putting into it.
Yeah. David, thank you again for all those nuggets that you have shared, and it's been great knowing you and getting you on the show here. I was so dying for you to be on the show and explaining this whole book and the book that I got, and definitely, as I told you, I'm going to read this during the summer and enjoy this. So thank you again for being here, and thank you for supporting Back to Basics.
Thank you. And one last thing is, you're never too old to start. I'm 67 right now. I just got back from hiking Kilimanjaro a couple of weeks ago. So you don't want to use that excuse, I'm too old to change. You're never too old to change.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, it's just a number, right? I mean, we just go on and go on. So thank you again for that. David, thank you again for being here, and thank you again for supporting me.
Thanks, Garish. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So guys, we spoke with David today, and we talked about the basics of health, right? And the basics of the 9 fundamentals, according to David, according to this book. And we talked a lot, right? And it's all about expenses. It's all about making the right decisions. I mean, yes, expenses, it does get expensive, but you can also make it cheaper too, in your own way and your own design. Now, as usual, as always, there is a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and hopefully David will like this, and I'll tell you why, because we'll tell you that later. How about that? So here's a quote. The quote is, "A little faith can go a long way to accomplish whatever endeavors you desire. A little doubt will destroy your dreams, or worse, it will kill you." Now, I wonder who said that, right? So guys, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today. Guys, take care. God bless. Keep on commenting. Keep on supporting me, because with your love and support, it'll make this happen, because I do release every day, and we are very close of just ending the season, which is season 2. And it's just crazy that how time really flies with enjoying great guests that I've had so far. And there are 3 things, according to this episode, for me, that is a hit, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. Guys, take care. God bless. Please do subscribe. And thank you again for supporting me and Back to Basics. Now, listen to all the advertisements right before we leave. And thank you again for being here. And by the way, we're going to have a milestone live event on July 6th. So you better be there, be square. And that's just what Back to Basics is all about. Stay blessed, be blessed, and stay well. We don't give a fuck.